Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my March reads. I read 10 books in March, which is pretty good. I think I had a pretty good reading month. I read a lot of good books this month, so we're just gonna jump right into it. The first book I read in March was Thrive by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. This is the fourth book in the Addicted series. I gave this book a 4 stars. The order in which you read the Addicted and Calloway series made me like this book less, because when you read Hot House Flower, which is the second book in the Calloway Sisters series, it's about 2 years ahead of when this book starts. This book is just kind of a recap of what you get in Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower, just in Lily and Lo's perspective. So it made almost everything in the book pretty repetitive. I guess that's what you get when they're 2 different series, you know, like I get why this book was necessary, but when you're reading both series intertwined, it's just a little bit repetitive, which is why it made me dock this book a little bit. It did still get a 4 stars for me, which is really good. This book made me just love Lily and Lo even more. I just absolutely love them as a couple together. Lo is just the sweetest man for Lily. I'm like, he's just so loving and protective. He like literally is so obsessed with her, and it's just so cute. I just see so much of myself in Lily as she's grown, and I just love it, honestly. Really loving this series. So excited to jump back into it this month. Then after I finished Thrive, I read And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Fredrik Backman. This is actually a novella. It's literally so short, but it was literally incredible. It's just a little novella about a grandfather, a son, and a grandson. The grandfather is battling dementia and slowly approaching death while we're reading the story. It just kind of makes you think about getting older and what can happen to your mind, and it's like really sad and also scary at the same time that your memories can just disappear from you like that. It's just so beautiful and poetically written, and in just 76 pages I was brought to tears, literally, by this little story. It was so sad. It just makes me want to read more of Fredrik Backman's work, because if he can make me feel that many emotions in 76 pages, then just imagine what he can do. I gave this a 4 stars. I feel like I couldn't give it a 5 stars just because it's so short. I definitely recommend this if you like Fredrik Backman, because it's really good. Then I read the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey, which is actually like 5 books in one. It's a ginormous book, but I just counted it as one because technically it's just one giant novel. I've read plenty of books that are 600 pages, so you know. But this is a total of 5 short stories involving Lana and Logan. Lana has a very dark past. Very, very horrible things have happened to her, causing her to seek revenge on the people who wronged her. And Logan is a FBI agent and he's working on a serial killer case, and Lana is the serial killer. You know, they fall in love, things get complicated, and this just takes you through that. I rated this book 5 stars. It was so good. This book was absolutely incredible. I love the characters. It was a roller coaster from beginning to end. It had like mystery in it as well, and you start to find things out about the characters. I just really liked it, and it ended really well. I love the ending as well. Definitely recommend this to any dark romance lovers, because this is good. Then I did a video where I read thrillers for a week, and so I read The Perfect Marriage. I rated this book a 3 stars. I discuss more what it's about in my videos, so if you want to know like more of my thoughts, then you should definitely watch that. But this is a mystery thriller about Sarah Morgan, and she's a defense attorney, and her husband Adam is a writer, and they have a second home out in the woods where Adam spends a lot of his time writing, and Adam ends up having an affair with a lady, and then one day the lady that he's having an affair with is found dead in their second home, and Adam is the main suspect, and so then Sarah becomes the detective on his case. Adam's character was horrible. I hated him. I definitely say that in that video. I did not like him at all. It made this book really unenjoyable. I ended up giving this book a 3 stars because I know there's definitely people out there that probably would really like it. It just wasn't for me. I didn't like his character, which definitely made me not like the book as much in return, and the ending was also very predictable. Like, I guessed the ending so early on, I second guessed myself because I was like, there's no way it could be that easy, but It was that easy. Story just kind of fell off for me at some parts. It was still a good story, just not one of my favorites. Then after that, I read The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. This was my book of the month pick for February, and I was really excited to read this. The story sounded so interesting. It's a thriller about a couple, Gabe and Pippa, and they live by like an ocean cliff that's popular for people to jump off and like end their lives. And so Gabe becomes like this local hero because he saves all these people from jumping off. One day he doesn't save somebody from jumping off, and then everyone finds out that he actually knew the person that jumped off, so it becomes this whole thing. And in this book you get Pippa's point of view, and then you get the lady that jumped off the cliff's point of view. You don't get Gabe's point of view, which I thought was weird. I kind of like wish that we got his along with there too, because I was like, we're getting the lady that jumped off point of view but not Gabe. Okay. All right. There's also very short chapters, which is something that I like in thrillers because it just makes it more intriguing. You want to keep going. I also like the depiction of mental health from a man's point of view because it's discussed a lot in this book, because Gabe has a lot of mental health issues, which I know that like mental health issues in a man is not just, it's not discussed very often, so I liked that. However, I ended up giving this book a 2 stars. I didn't really enjoy it. The ending ruined it for me. You don't even really find out what happens, it feels like. It's hard to explain. If you read the book, then you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's just kind of confusing. It's a pretty short book and it took me forever to read, so I feel like that says a lot. I didn't really enjoy it, and I'm kind of sad because I really thought I was gonna like it, but I didn't. And then the last book I read for that video was The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is a thriller about a woman named Alicia, and she is just this seemingly normal woman, and then one night she randomly shoots her husband Gabriel 5 times and then never speaks another word after that. And so she's put in this like mental hospital, and the psychotherapist Theo wants to find out why she doesn't talk anymore. He's given the opportunity to work with her, and he thinks he can get her to talk, and that's what this book is about. I gave this book a 4 stars. The story was so good. I read this so fast. Like, I think I read it inside of like 1 day. It was very suspenseful, but the ending was kind of confusing. It kind of confused me for a minute. I've had to go back and read it a few times because I was so confused. But once I got it, it was really good. And I definitely recommend this to any thriller lovers. Definitely up there with His and Hers, because that's one of my favorite Alice Sweeney books. So then after that, I read Viral TikTok books. If you want to see me read those books, then definitely go watch that video. It's the one that I uploaded before this one. But in that video, I read Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is my first Emily Henry book, which is very exciting. I rated Book Lovers a 4.5 stars. I really liked it. I thought it was super cute. It gave me like Lynn Painter vibes, which is a compliment because I love Lynn Painter. Nora is like this hardworking, independent girl. She decides to go on a trip to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina with her sister. Her sister creates this bucket list of things to do while they're on their trip. While they're doing these things, she ends up running into Charlie, who is the man in this book, and he's like just this grumpy, brooding man. The banter between Nora and Charlie is so funny. Like, it had me laughing at so many parts during this book. It's just hilarious. They're so funny together. It definitely also had me tearing up at some parts. There were some very sad moments in this book. It was such a cute and fluffy romance. I really loved it, and I highly recommend it to anyone. I'm definitely going to be reading more Emily Henry. After that, I read Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, which is my next H.D. Carlton book after the Haunting and Hunting Adeline duology, which we all know I love very much. I ended up giving Does It Hurt a 3.5 stars, however. I think I just had very high expectations because of that book series, and I just can't compare anything to that. That being said, it was still very good. It's a dark romance about Sawyer, who she's wanted and she's on the run. Enzo, who owns a research center for sharks, and they end up on a boat and get into a boat crash that ends up on this island with a lighthouse, and there's this creepy man that lives on the island. And it's just their story of being stranded on the island. Very spicy. We already expected that with H.G. Carlton, but just want to put it out there. I also really didn't like Enzo's character for majority of the book. He's just so rude and mean, and I'm just like, I don't like you at all. Like, I really don't like you. He eventually kind of like redeemed himself, but it was kind of too late. But I really did like Sawyer's character. She's hilarious and a very strong character, and so she kind of saved the book for me. I really liked her. 3.5 stars. It was okay. I liked it. Then I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This book has been highly anticipated for me. I gave Once Upon a Broken Heart a 4 stars. This is such a cute romance fantasy, mostly fantasy. I feel like there's not much of a romance aspect in it. I think it mostly comes in the second book is what I've heard. I'll let y'all know when I read it. I really like the fantasy aspect. If you're wanting to jump into fantasy, this is a perfect book to start with because it's super fast paced and easy. There's not a lot of world building. It's not like excessive. A lot of fantasies can just be too much sometimes. It takes a lot of brain power. This one was just very fun to read. It's about a girl named Evangeline, and she finds out the love of her life is marrying another girl, so she takes up a deal with the Prince of Hearts to get him to stop the wedding, only to find out that that's not all he wants, you know? So it's incredibly fast-paced, literally jumped into the story on the first page. I definitely want to read the second book, and I know the third book's coming out in like September, so that's very exciting. Highly recommend. And then the last book that I read in March was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm so glad that I finally read this book. I gave it a 5 stars. Which was a great way to end off the month. If you don't know what Daisy Jones and the Six is, it's just about a fictional band in the 70s, and it just takes you through the story of the band. It's written interview style, which is really cool because it's kind of different than most books, and I really enjoyed it. It was so good. Had me tearing up at the end, and I've been watching the show. The show is incredible as well. I'm just very glad that I read this so I could understand everyone's love for this book and the TV show, and I definitely want to read more Taylor Jenkins Reid because I've heard very good things. Those are all the books that I read in March. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any content from me in April, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.